Yes, sir.
Very good evening, friends. Today we have the privilege of having with us Yogesh Chatwani ji, who is a CPA US, and he has very recently cleared the IBBI limited insolvency examination, securing the highest marks ever. He has guided us in the past also on various case studies. So today we have again invited him to deliberate on the case studies, particularly on this grievance handling mechanism and code of conduct for IPs. With this, it is over to Yogesh Chatwani ji. Yogesh Chatwani ji, I have already made you co-host, so you can share your screen.
Yeah, I will do that. Thank you very much. First of all, to Gupta Saab, he is giving me ample opportunities to present these case studies. And I also thank each one of you for giving this opportunity. This case study is based on IP regulations and code of conduct actually. And it will also include some portion of complaints and grievances. So what I find actually means from exam point of view, these 4 regulations, namely IPA, Insolvency Professional Agency, then Insolvency Professionals, then this IU, Information Utility, these and board, these are very important regulations. Case study is there, one case study of 6 marks on business ethics is already there. So 6 mark plus as per my experience actually minimum 6 marks from these 3 to 4 regulation. So total you can expect around 12 marks questions from these 4 regulations. So I will request each one of you to go through this. It is very easy actually. I find you have to remember certain timelines and threshold limits. So if once you remember, you can score very well on it. Now my today's case study is on code of conduct of IP, which I had presented a few days back. When it's say 1 or 2 months back to old batch, I am told, and now this is new batch. So I would once again like to present what I have done. I have changed some of the questions and slight modification is done in my previous case study. So I will now like to present that. I hope screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So case study is like this. Sri P from Delhi became an IP on 29th March of 2019. Sri P, a professional, was employed with a manufacturing unit, Messrs. Z in UP, between 2003 and 2016. Sri P relocated to Delhi during April 2016 upon his promotion and transfer. He subsequently resigned from services of Messrs. Z on 31st January 2019. Sri P visited Canada between April 2017 and December 2017 in connection with project work assigned by his company. The tenure of the project was unacceptable at the time of deputation of Sri P, and therefore he stayed in Canada longer than expected. During his stay in UP, Sri P intended to develop intimate relationship with one of his neighbors, Mrs. T. He crossed limits one day when Mrs. T registered a case of eve teasing with police against Sri P during December 2014. Sri P managed to escape with imposition of a minimum fine during May 2015 in this case for want of evidence. Assume that Sri P did not disclose these facts in his application for enrollment registration as IP to the concerned authorities, as Sri P, in his own wisdom, believe that these facts do not demand disclosure and he is not violating any provisions of IBC or rules and regulations made thereunder. Sri P was appointed as IRP of Messrs U on 5/6/2019. He subsequently became RP of Messrs U. The CIRP remained incomplete as at end of financial year 2019-2020. The professional fee accrued to Sri P from this assignment as at end of financial year 2019-2020 was estimated at rupees 1.25 crores. However, payment of professional fee remained unpaid to Sri P at the end of financial year 2019-2020. Therefore, Sri P did not disclose information related to this assignment in turnover disclosed to board through relevant forms. P appointed 2 registered valuers as per provisions contained in IBC. Sri P always believed in maintaining healthy relationship with all concerned authorities. On the occasion of Deepavali festivals during October 2019, Sri P, as a goodwill gesture, arranged to generously distribute gift coupons to the concerned personnel deployed at AA. Further, Messrs. J appeared to be prospective candidate for acquisition of Messrs. U as a going concern during CIRP. A representative of Messrs. U handed over a high value gift to spouse of Sri P when Sri P was not at his home on the occasion of Deepavali festival. Now, this is the case study based on which I have prepared certain MCQs. I will share screen. It is visible. Eh?
Yes, sir, visible.
So first question is, I hope case study is clear. Ne? Now, first question, did Sri P violated provisions related to residency status?
Can you give 2 minutes for reading again the case study, please?
I will do that. What I will do, we will read again. Hai na?
Yes, thank you.
So this is the case study. I hope it is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
So should I read again or at your own you will read it?
We will read on our own. Just give us 2-3 minutes.
I will do that. I will do that. Huh?
So please change the page if everybody has read it.
Not yet completed.
No, I too need 1 minute more.
Just inform when you complete. Huh?
Okay, sir.
Complete?
Yes, sir, it's true.
Otherwise, what we will do, you can read once, and what we will do at the time of question also, we will refer to relevant portion.
Yes, sir. That is better, I think.
So you can read fast also once, and then if needed, we will visit again to this screen at the time of solving MCQ.
Actually, participants can take a screenshot also on their mobile, and they can study side by side while answering questions. So that can also be done.
Better idea, sir.
Sir, share this case study in the group, so we'll read on the mobile.
Yeah, I will do that. I will do that. Huh?
We can read and can give answer.
Yeah. So just now, should I share this?
That will be better because we can read on our mobile and can give answer.
Give me a
Or-
minute. Give me a minute.
No.
Have you received?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Received.
So now I think I will share that MCQ.
Yeah.
This is first MCQ. Did Sri violated provisions related to residency status prescribed under eligibility criteria for an IP? Four options: no, yes, no, no. So first is no, he fulfilled the eligibility criteria. B option is yes, he did not fulfill eligibility criteria. C option is no, he fulfilled eligibility criteria prescribed under IBBI. And 4, no. So different logics are given. So you may like to give your answers or select one option. You can put your answer in chat box also. See, the choice of participants is between B and C. Most of the participants have given answer as C. See, before I give the answer, I will take you to the Baer Act. So there it will be more clear.
सर हम इसको डिस्कस भी कर सकते हैं अगर आप चाहें तो।
हाँ, एक ही मिनट दे दीजिए। अभी ये विजिबल है?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Visible, sir.
ये जस्ट बेयर एक्ट का आपको आइडिया आ जाए। सी, ये जो 4B आप देख रहे हैं वो बोल रहा है नो इंडिविजुअल शेल बी एलिजिबल टू बी रजिस्टर्ड एज एन इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल इफ ही इज नॉट ए पर्सन रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया। सो दिस इज मेन। अभी आपको रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया क्या है उसके लिए आपको कोड में जो डेफिनेशन दी हुई है उसमें जाना होगा। तो कोड में जो डेफिनेशन दी हुई है वो आपका ये 24 अगर आप देख रहे हैं तो पर्सन रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया shall have the meaning as assigned to such a term in clause 5 Roman 5 of section 2 of FEMA Act 1999. So if you visit that FEMA Act, अगर आप देखेंगे तो FEMA Act में जो डेफिनेशन दी हुई है वो प्रीवियस ईयर में, करंट ईयर में नहीं, प्रीवियस ईयर में अगर वो बार है 182 मींस 182 से 182 डेज से कम अगर उसकी प्रेजेंस है इंडिया में तो ही विल कंसीडर्ड एज नॉन रेसिडेंट मींस रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया वो नहीं माना जाएगा। तो इसमें जो करेक्ट आंसर है
Not eligible.
इसमें जो करेक्ट आंसर है वो बी होगा। Yes, he did not fulfill
Not
eligibility
eligible.
criteria prescribed under IBBI IP regulation related to his residency status.
9 months is the way.
So I will repeat again, for residency status, you will have to refer to definition given in code that means section 424 along with FEMA Act. So FEMA Act talks about previous financial year. So in this case, during previous financial year, he was out of India between the period April to December. That is more than 182 days. His presence was not there in India. So he is not eligible. Any doubt on this? Because most of the participants
No, sir.
have,
It's fine, sir.
most of the participants have given answer as C, which is incorrect. Correct reply is B. We will now move to next question. Did Sri P violated provisions related to conviction prescribed under eligibility criteria for an IP? Again, we have 4 options: no, no, yes, no. So, which is the correct option? I think time is very short. So what I will do, we will directly go to reply. We have
Yes.
one participant has given
A.
as C, and we have somebody is telling A also. So most of the participants have given C. So what I will do again, I will Air Act, I will again share. See, this is the relevant portion D. It is visible. Has been convicted by any competent court for an offence punishable with imprisonment for a term exceeding 6 months, or for an offence involving moral turpitude, and a period of 5 years has not elapsed from the date of expiry of the sentence. Now here word or is important. Or for an offence. So eve teasing is comes under this moral turpitude. So 5 years has not passed if you will count the days. Therefore, the reply will be
C.
C. Yes, Sri P violated provisions related to conviction at the time of making application to concerned authorities during 1819. So this actually regulation 4D I just show you, that is the relevant. Now next is, did Sri P violated code of conduct when he
सर एक चीज
हाँ,
है उसमें
बताइए,
वर्ड
बताइए।
कन्विक्टेड यूज किया गया है, तो यहाँ तो पुलिस सिर्फ FIR किया, तो कन्विक्टेशन तो नहीं हुआ।
नहीं, उसमें फाइन लिखा है, देखिए आप, फाइन इज कन्विक्शन।
सर वहां पे ये लिखा था ना एक जगह जहाँ पे एविडेंस नहीं था, जो मैंने देखा था कि
नहीं।
वहां पे एविडेंस नहीं था और वो बाहर आ गया था।
यस, एविडेंस नहीं था, वो सही बात है आपकी, लेकिन फाइन जरूर लगा था, माइनर पेनल्टी जरूर लगी थी, वह माइनर फाइन जरूर लगा था, और फाइन लगा, इट इज एज गुड एज कन्विक्शन। अगर आप देखेंगे तो इम्प्रिजनमेंट और फाइन और बोथ, सो फाइन इज ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ कन्विक्शन, ये क्लैरिटी रखनी है आपको। कोई भी अगर आप पिनल प्रोविजंस देखेंगे ना, अगर आपको चाहिए तो मैं वो दिखा दूं स्क्रीन जिसमें उसको माइनर फाइन लगा था, मैं आपको ये दिखा देता है।
सर सभी जगह कन्विक्शन यूज किया गया है, तो यहाँ तो सिर्फ क्या किया था,
ये देखिए आप
पुलिस।
ये देख लीजिए, ये जो स्क्रीन विजिबल है ना अभी, श्री P managed to escape with imposition of minimum fine. तो once fine लगा, it is conviction. During May 2015 in this case for want of evidence. Want of evidence इसलिए लगा कि उसको मेजर पेनल्टी नहीं हुई, imprisonment नहीं हुआ, लेकिन
सर
फाइन जरूर लगा।
सर
Yes,
सभी जगह
बताइए।
सभी जगह वर्ड यूज किया गया है बेयर एक्ट में 4D में कि no individual shall be eligible to be registered as an insolvency professional if he has been convicted by any competent court.
तो ये फाइन इम्पोज कोर्ट ही करेगा।
लेकिन यहाँ कोर्ट आया ही नहीं नजर में आपके केस में।
देखिए वो आपको अगर आप देखेंगे ना, फाइन वंस फाइन जो है वो क्रिमिनल, इट इज ए पार्ट ऑफ क्रिमिनल प्रोसीडिंग्स। फाइन कौन इम्पोज कर सकता है? इट इज पार्ट ऑफ क्रिमिनल प्रोसीडिंग्स। और स्पेशल कोर्ट जो फॉर्म होती है, अगर आप इसके बाद वाले सेक्शंस देखेंगे आफ्टर दिस मिसेलेनियस पार्ट 5 में, तो उसमें बोला हुआ है कि ये स्पेशल कोर्ट जो है वो क्रिमिनल प्रोसीडिंग्स के तहत फाइन इम्पोज करेगी।
सर ये जो जहां तक कन्विक्शन की बात आती है, तो कन्विक्शन जो है वो तभी हो सकता है जब तक कोई भी आदमी वो उसके खिलाफ FIR भी हो जाए। जब
वो
तक
FIR
वो
तो हुआ है ना
कोर्ट से नहीं मेरी बात समझे। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ सर, जो CRPC कहती है वो ये कहती है कि वो तब तक अक्यूज्ड है जब तक कि कोर्ट उसको कन्विक्ट नहीं कर देती।
हाँ, तो वही
conviction has to be by a sentence.
Yeah, that is what, see, this is what I have written. Sri P managed to escape with imposition of a minimum fine. Now this maybe it is not clear to you. This imposition is of fine is by court of law only.
चटवानी जी, आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड हियर, एक प्रैक्टिकल केस है। उस केस में क्या हुआ था, देखिए कन्विक्शन तो दूर की बात है, FIR के बेस पे भी IBBI मना कर देती है। जब आप IBBI को अप्लाई करते हो तो वहां क्राइटेरिया है फिट एंड प्रॉपर पर्सन, और आपको वहां पर केस लॉ भी मिल जाएगा। केस लॉ में भी यही है कि एक बंदे के अगेंस्ट में FIR लॉज थी, उसने कहा जी केस चल रहा था, उसका क्या था डिस्चार्ज ऑर्डर होने वाला था, उनका डिस्चार्ज ऑर्डर होने दो। एक प्रैक्टिकल सिनेरियो है। उस केस में क्या हुआ कि ये अपना ये ट्रेनिंग भी नहीं कर पाया बंदा, उसने सिर्फ एग्जाम पास किया, जब ट्रेनिंग के लिए अप्लाई हुआ वहीं पर अटक गया मामला, IPA ने रोक लिया।
वो सर मैं बताता हूँ, वो है 4G का I में इंटीग्रिटी, रेपुटेशन और कैरेक्टर। तो कैरेक्टर में वो फंस गया था, इसलिए उसको बार्ड कर दिया। तो हो सकता है इसमें केस में कैरेक्टर में ईव टीजिंग किया तो उसको IBBI बार्ड कर देगा।
और एक जो केस मैं खुद जानता हूँ, उस केस में IPA ने रोक लिया उसको, IPA से ही आगे नहीं बढ़ पाया वो।
और इस केस में चाहे मैंने कोर्ट नहीं लिखा, लेकिन फाइन अगर पेनल्टी है तो वो ये एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी कर सकती है।
और वो जो IPA वाला मैटर था, उसमें क्या हुआ कि उसमें तो हम लोग IBBI तक गए, IBBI चेयरमैन से भी बात करवाई। भाई देखो हम लोगों के कॉन्टेक्ट तो हैं ही सारे, तो हम लोगों ने IBBI चेयरमैन से भी बात कराई। तो बट ये है कि वो मामला हुआ नहीं, उल्टा नहीं हुआ। वो कहने लगे ऐसा जी कोर्ट से जब आ जाएगा ना तभी हम करेंगे।
घर के केस है ना सर इसमें।
हाँ नहीं, वो केस तो है ही, मैं और बता रहा हूँ, केस के अलावा कई केस तो आते ही नहीं ना। वो क्या होता है, बाहर से निकल जाते हैं, वहीं से रिफ्यूजल हो जाता है। भाई मान लो आपने ट्रेनिंग IPA के पास अप्लाई किया, आपने ट्रेनिंग के बाद तो वहीं पर रोक देते हैं आपको, IP की ट्रेनिंग में ही रोक देते हैं। कई बार आपको फॉर्म तो भरना ही पड़ता ना, उसी स्टेज पर रुक जाते हैं।
नहीं होता ना सर,
एग्जाम देते टाइम नहीं होता। एग्जाम तो BCom भी दे सकता है, एग्जाम के लिए कोई CA होना भी जरूरी नहीं है। उनको तो पैसे से मतलब है, 1500 प्लस फीस दो, BCom भी दे ले एग्जाम में कोई CA होना भी जरूरी नहीं है। ये सब चीजें तो बाद में चेक होती हैं। एनीवे प्लीज कंटिन्यू सर।
यस सर। So next question is, did Sri P violated the code when he distributed gift vouchers on the occasion of Deepavali? So again we have 4 options. Yes, no, no, none of the above. ये मीन्स आसान लगेगा आपको, इसका करेक्ट आंसर ए है। अगर आप कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट में जो लास्ट क्लोज देखेंगे तो उसमें स्पेसिफिकली लिखा है कि गिफ्ट जो है वो देना मना है, गिफ्ट देना या लेना दोनों मना है, ठीक है। ये क्लोज 29 ऑफ कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट फॉर आईपी, ये आप रेफर कर सकते हैं। नेक्स्ट भी जैसे अभी हमने देखा वही है कि did Sri P violated code of conduct when his spouse accepted high value gift from the representative of the prospective applicant in liquidation process of you on the occasion of Deepavali. So here also 4 options are there, but correct answer is B. Neither IP is supposed to give gift nor accept it. So we will not waste time on this. Now next question is, did Sri violated this? So next तो यही है, code of conduct for IP is given under which schedule? Read with so and so regulation of IBBI IP regulation 2016. So code of conduct actually reply we are getting A, B, C, all 3.
A.
Correct reply is A. This is self-explanatory, so we will not take much time on this. It is first schedule of IBBI IP regulation. So first schedule and regulation 72H. So these you remember. Now IPE shall pay to the board a fee calculated at dash percentage of professional fee earned for the services rendered by it in preceding year, along with a statement in form dash of the schedule dash under IBBI. So most of the participants have given correct answer, which is D actually. In case of IPE, it is 0.25% and form G and schedule 2. In case of IP actually it is B, which is 0.25% E and 2. So these 2 forms are relevant. For IP it is form E, and for IPE it is form G. And when schedule 1 consists of code of conduct, these forms are given in schedule 2. Next is 3P correct in not disclosing professional fees accrued during 1920 from assignment of here it is written as voluntary liquidation. I have now changed it to CIRP. So you read it as a CIRP of Messrs. U in his filing with board. So 4 options, yes, no, and 3P has an option to disclose the details either in financial year in which professional fee accrued or in financial year in which he received the payment. So which is the correct answer? We have already received B from 3 participants. We have received C as also answer, but the correct answer is it is B, No, Sri P is liable to make payment of fee to board even in cases where his professional fees have remained unpaid during the preceding financial year. Now that clarity will emerge from the form E or form G. If you refer to those forms, it is specifically written it is on accrual basis, not on case basis. So that you means refer to the relevant forms, you will have clarity. And here for IP actually it is regulation 72 CA. The last date for payment of fee calculated at 0.25% to board by IP for 1920 is. There are 4
पैसा मिला नहीं पैसा
हाँ बताइए
You continue.
आपका वॉइस शायद
उसको
बताइए यहाँ पे भी ये क्वेश्चन में भी हमको जो ऑप्शंस मीन्स जो रिप्लाई मिल रहे हैं वो ए और सी के बीच में मिल रहे हैं। तो आपको ये स्पेसिफिकली याद रखना है कि वैसे तो नॉर्मली तो 30 अप्रैल है, तो यही मीन्स है। फॉर 1920 अगर आप देखेंगे तो वो कोरोना की वजह से एक्सटेंड हुआ है, वो 38 जून है। सो यहाँ का करेक्ट रिप्लाई है 38 जून। ये कोड मीन्स रेगुलेशन में अमेंडमेंट हुआ है। अगर आप देखेंगे रेगुलेशन 72 CA तो वहां पे आपको प्रोविजो मिलेगा, अमेंडमेंट हुआ है। जो भी प्रोविजो या तो जो भी एक्सप्लेनेशन है वो आपको थरोली रीड करने हैं, और पर्टिकुलरली जो लास्ट अमेंडमेंट्स हुए हैं रेगुलेशन और कोड में वो भी आप थरोली देख लेना। For 1920 it is 38 June, not 38 April. So वो आप देख लेना। और इसके बाद वाले साल में भी अमेंडमेंट हुआ है, लेकिन वो आपके सिलेबस में नहीं है। तो फॉर सिलेबस पर्पस आप यही याद रख लीजिए कि फॉर 1920 it is 38 June, otherwise for all previous year it is 38 April. So ये आपको याद रखना होगा, ये इम्पोर्टेंट है, कभी भी आ सकता है। नेक्स्ट है एन आईपी इज लायबल टू मेक पेमेंट ऑफ सिंपल इंटरेस्ट एट द रेट ऑफ डैश पर एनम ऑन अनपेड फी। सो 4 ऑप्शंस 12, 18, 24, 6.
Sir, how to answer this? I can type.
In chat box you can do that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
In these actually most participants have given as A as the answer, but we have one D also, 6%. 6% I am afraid is not the correct answer. Correct answer is 12%, which is A. So you just read it. 6% is, as I recall, is in partnership. So here regulation 15, if you will refer, it is 12%. So this you should remember. Interest payable on unpaid fee by IP or IPE, it is 12% for both. Now next is a stakeholder is required to file grievance with the board in days form and complain with the board in days form in this regulation, grievance and complaint handling procedure regulation 2017. So double A, B, form not specified A and B and C. We have received replies from 3 participants. It is 3 or C. Roman 3 or C. So that is actually correct answer. For grievance, actually no form is specified, and for complaint it is form A. So correct answer is 3 or C, and you have to refer to regulation 4. Then next is the fee prescribed for filing of grievance is dash, and for complaints is dash. Here also most of the participants have given answer as C, and that is the correct answer. For grievance, actually there is no fees, but for a complaint, fee prescribed is 2,500. You have to refer to regulation 3.2 and 3.3. The fee paid for filing of complaint is 4 options: non-refundable, refundable, refundable in case filed in a correct manner, and refundable where the board is of the opinion that the complaint is not frivolous. So here we are getting D and A. Choice is between D and A. We have received C also as the answer. Most of the participants have given D as the answer, which is correct actually. It is refundable where this, if you refer to this regulation 3.1 and 3.2, there you will get this answer. It is refundable where the board is of the opinion. Now, for how long Sri P is required to maintain records of his assignment as an IP? We have 4 options: 5 years from completion of each financial year, 3 years from completion of such assignment, 3 years from completion of each financial year, and 8 years from completion of such assignment. We have received as D as the answer. I am afraid D is not the correct answer. Correct answer is 3 years. B is the correct answer. B for Bombay, not D for Delhi. It is at least 3 years from completion of such assignment. So you have to read the regulations very carefully and remember these timelines. Because normally it is 8 years, but if you refer to regulation 7G of IP regulation, there it is specifically mentioned at least 3 years from completion of such assignment. If you want, I can show you Bare Act also.
नहीं सर, लिखा हुआ 7G में.
हाँ 7G में लिखा हुआ है, आप देख लीजिए। ये 7, ये जो है वो ये 7 है सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन, और इसका G maintain records of all assignments undertaken by him under code for at least 3 years from the completion of such assignment. So ये आपको जो टाइमलाइन दी हुई है ये रेगुलेशन में, मैं अगेन बोल रहा हूँ कि ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, और इसका आप वेटेज ले लीजिए कम से कम 10 से 12 मार्क का, मीन्स आपके केस लॉस के इक्वल वेटेज है इसका। सो ये काइंडली आप ध्यान से देख लेंगे। So I hope this is clear. At least 3 years from completion of such assignment. An IPA है यहाँ पे, shall inform the board when it issues or renews an AFA authorization for assignment, suspends or cancels AFA, revokes suspension of AA, or accepts or surrenders of an AA within days of taking such action. So we have 4 options: 5 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. So यहाँ पे A, C, D, C भी है, A भी है, और D भी आया है रिप्लाई, कि D नहीं आया? D भी दिया है रिप्लाई, E है, C है, और A भी दिया है 5 days. So correct reply यहाँ पे है 1 day. It is 1 day. D is the correct answer. Regulation 10(1). Regulation 10(1). अगर आपको देखना है तो मैं अभी दिखा सकता है। ये देखिए, ये यहाँ पे हाईलाइट किया हुआ है, within 1 working day of taking such action. 10(1). An insolvency professional agency shall inform the board when it issues, renews, ये जो है वो within 1 working day. नॉर्मली एक्ट में कहीं भी 1 डे नहीं है, ये ओड मैन आउट है, तो इसीलिए इसका MCQ मैंने बनाया था। मैं मीन्स अभी आपको ये याद रहेगा हमेशा। ये टाइमलाइन मीन्स आपको एग्जाम के एनवायरनमेंट में याद रखना होगा। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, Sri P is contemplating to establish an IPE but not sure about quantum of capital net worth of IPE. Please guide him. So there are 4 options: 5 crore, 10 crore, 1 crore. 1 crore में also there are 2 options: not less than 1 crore or more than 1 crore. We have received reply from 3 participants. All 3 have given C as the reply. Rajat ji is also giving reply. I am happy. Sir, you are giving reply. I am very much happy. So here it is not less than 1 crore. The correct reply is C only, not less than 1 crore. And for that you will have to refer to regulation 12B. 12B is the regulation. Now next question is, what is the meaning of net worth in respect of an LLP for the purpose of recognition as an IPE as defined under LLP Act or as defined under Companies Act, or sum of partners' contribution in the capital account, or sum of partners' contribution in the capital account and their undistributed profits, net of accumulated losses, if any. Rajat ji, I am happy. See, we have received reply as A, B, C, B, C. So, different replies from different participants. Choice is not one between B, C, and D. Replies are coming between B, C, and D. Now it is an LLP, it is not a company. So B is ruled out and correct reply is D. And regulation 12(1) explanation. I will once again repeat, whatever provision is given in proviso or in explanation or any amendment from last syllabus, you read it thoroughly, chances are there you may get question from that only. So this is 12(1) explanation. If you refer, this definition of net worth is given for LLP and registered partnership. For establishing an IPE, it should be registered partnership, not unregistered partnership. So company, registered partnership and LLP, they are eligible actually. So here answer is D. And for company, it is as defined under Companies Act 2013. This is not company, it is LLP. So for LLP, this is the definition. So that's all from my side, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity. Any questions?
Sir, please repeat. I mean, what you are telling, we should look at which question papers and all. Just now you said
Madam, when you are reading the BEAR Act, you refer to what is given in proviso. You will read as provided that is called proviso. So that you read very carefully, because that is sort of odd man out. So that you have to read carefully. Apart from that, actually explanation is given. Explanation is given in some of the provisions of the code or regulations or rules. That also you read very carefully. I hope it is clear now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And apart from that, whatever changes have been made from last syllabus, means changes made during say 2019 and 2020, those changes also you go through carefully.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, I recently joined, but now to get the clarification for the past one and a half month, I will call you, sir, separately.
Yeah, you can do that. Gupta Sahab is also there, and for your convenience, Gupta Sahab has created a platform which is actually you cannot match it anywhere else, which is YouTube channel of Gupta Sahab. You will get all recording there, which will be very useful. And you visit the website of Gupta Sahab. There also you will get sufficient study material.
Sure. Thank you. And just I was going through the initial book of insolvency, 180 days is given, then 90 days extension is allowed, then maximum 330 days is allowed for insolvency, corporate insolvency resolution process. So 180 plus 90 becomes 270.
Yeah.
But maximum allowed is 330 days. So 60 days.
Hey, that is see for legal proceedings. The time period, what was happening, the means time limit prescribed under the law was 180 plus 90 days. Now there means legal proceedings were pending either before appellate authority or before adjudicating authority or before High Court or before Supreme Court. So once it is pending, no proceeding can be carried forward. So, so means to give a benefit of that, means for exclusion purpose actually, that period they have extended to maximum 330 days.
Okay, fine, perfect.
Gokul Jainji, I would like to clarify and I would like to introduce you also to the group.
Thank you, sir.
Gokulji is in Oman these days, huh? I'm right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
okay.
Gupta.
And regarding this, the 188 plus 90, the timelines are still 180 days. So timelines are in CIRP 180 days. Beyond 180 days, you need to seek specific extension from the adjudicating authorities, which is NCLT in case of corporate persons. And that 90 days also is not 90. It could be 60 also, it could be 30 also, and you have to give reasoning why you want that extension.
Yeah.
And that also you can apply only through approval of COC. Now regarding this, because it is written in the code itself that 180 plus 90, now the courts found it difficult. So how to extend it beyond that period? Because CIRP was not being completed in many of the cases, and the companies were citing, RPs were citing reasons that, okay, the CIRP is not being completed, please grant us extension. So naturally, because they cannot go beyond the code, so beyond 270, they could not go. So what they found a reverse way. They actually tried to exclude the period which was wasted in litigation. So suppose it was for 400 days and then they excluded the 130 days to still make it 270. And when many such applications keep coming, so they made an amendment in the act itself that in case of any litigation, it is not for all cases, that in case of any litigation, the period will be 330. And that 330 also was written as mandatorily in the code. But there is a Supreme Court case also that even the word mandatorily will be read as ordinarily. So what it means, that even in beyond 330 extension is still possible if you give sufficient reasons.
Right. Thank you, Guptaji. Guptaji, one request was there.
Yes, yes.
Can these classes be conducted every day at 7:30? So it will be convenient for me to attend.
No, definitely we can consider it also. We can consider,
very much.
but there are many. हाँ बोलिए मैडम.
छटवानी सर, आपने जो नेटवर्थ वाला जो बताया ना, एक्सप्लेनेशन में है 12(1) के, सर वो एक बार बताएंगे, मेरे को दिख नहीं रहा है उसमें एक्सप्लेनेशन में.
हाँ,
आईटी रेगुलेशंस में है ना सर?
हाँ, एक मिनट है, मैं बता देता हूँ. ये देखेंगे, यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है, दिख रहा है? For the purpose of clause B of this sub-regulation, net worth means, यहाँ पे ये दिया हुआ है.
अच्छा, ये मेरी बुक में नहीं है लेकिन सर.
एक मिनट है, मुझे देखने दीजिए, क्योंकि मेरा ये अभी का है. सॉरी, आई एम सॉरी. हाँ, ये मेरे पास लेटेस्ट है, तो ये आप, सॉरी.
मैं सर सारी बुक में देख ली, मेरे को कहीं नहीं मिला.
सॉरी, आई एम सॉरी. ये रीजन मेरा, क्योंकि अभी मैंने एग्जाम के बाद नया एक्ट देखना चालू कर दिया, नए एक्ट और रेगुलेशन. सो मेरा ये ध्यान नहीं गया. सो आप ये क्वेश्चन निकाल देंगे अपन, है ना?
चलिए ठीक है सर, थैंक यू, क्लियर हो गया, नहीं तो मैं ढूंढती रहती.
थैंक यू. सॉरी
सर, और कुछ डिस्कस करना है या इट्स ओवर फ्रॉम योर साइड?
From my side is it is over, sir, unless participants have some questions.